Once you learn how to visualize correctly, your life will shift immediately. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to visualize so that you can manifest what you want into your life. Now, before we get into that, we have to talk about how the mind works and why you want to visualize better in the first place. Well, 90% of who you are and how you show up each day is completely unconscious and subconscious. These are ingrained habits in your mind that run off automatically. And the conscious awareness that you're watching this video with is responsible only for just 10% of what you do each day. And this highlights the main problem. So many of us try to change our lives using hard work and effort and straining from just that 10%. And that's why we never get anywhere, because the 90% is what's really driving us every day. And if you don't change the 90%, you will never get any lasting permanent change. You'll always fall back to the automatic habits of the 90%. So think about it like a car engine. 10% of the engine is not powerful enough to override the other 90%. So instead of using the 10% to fight the 90, you need to use the 10% to reprogram that 90%, to be in alignment with the changes that you want to make in your life, and to program your subconscious mind with new habits, new beliefs, new programs that will automatically run every day, automatically taking you step by step towards your goals. So now that we understand what the problem is, how do we go about solving it? Well, this is where visualization comes into play. The power of visualization is in its ability to reprogram the subconscious from the conscious. Now, why does this work? Well, neuroscience tells us that your mind cannot tell the difference between imagination and external reality. And don't just take my word for it, you can experiment and feel this for yourself. Think about how you feel when you imagine something. You get excited and fired up if you imagine spending a night with your lover, right? You can also get really anxious and worried if you imagine the worst case scenarios of what you've got coming in the day. Just mentally thinking about and picturing something creates a change that you can literally feel in your body. And it's the same with visualizing. There's been studies to this effect specifically. In one study, they had people playing basketball, and they had 3 groups. One group did absolutely nothing, didn't play, didn't visualize, nothing. Second group visualized only making free throws, and the third group only physically practiced making the free throws. They tested all 3 groups before and after on their free throw accuracy. Group 1 had no improvement, which is not surprising, but groups 2 and 3 made the same improvement, even though one of them just visualized and never physically practiced. It's the same reason that Olympic athletes will also spend hours visualizing using their skills. Now, finally, think about the placebo effect, right? When they run new medical trials on new drugs, they literally test the drugs against a placebo, a literal sugar pill. That's because when patients take that sugar pill, they get measurable effects towards whatever disease or symptom they are treating, and they need to make sure the drug is at least better than placebo. Now, all of this shows and proves that our body and our mind responds and believes what we imagine or visualize to be true. But the problem is most of us are doing this incorrectly. And here's the big secret. You're already doing this every single day. You're already visualizing every day. It just hasn't been in alignment with your manifestations. Most of what you visualize has been on autopilot, and that's why you keep getting the same results day after day, year after year. Now, that leads to a natural question. Lance, are you saying that my life is my fault? No, it's not your fault, because these things are happening subconsciously. And our initial subconscious programming is involuntary. It comes from parents, from family, from society, from school, television, etc. And it happens primarily through age 7, when we're children. That's where the bulk of that automatic subconscious programming comes in. So it's not your fault, but it is a power that you have that you can use to change your life. Now, I'm going to explain 5 steps to visualizing correctly. And then I'm going to share 3 of the biggest mistakes that will block your visualization from working and ways you can work around those. But first, comment down below and let me know, what do you want to change about your reality? I will visualize in my mind that you are living in that version of reality, and I ask you to do the same for everyone else that watches this video. The power of group intention and group visualization is so much more than any single one of us can muster, and we can help each other to live and shape the reality of our dreams. Now, here's 5 tips for visualizing correctly. First, you want to create a scene of the wish fulfilled. You want to visualize a scene in your mind that implies your manifestation is already here. You're driving that car. You're living in that house. You roll over and you see your lover in bed. Next, step 2, you want to give that scene as much reality as possible. You want to engage your 5 senses. What can you smell? What can you hear in this scene? Try to add at least 1 sense in your visualization. Number 3, you want to make sure that you're visualizing through the eyes of yourself. You don't want to watch yourself third person like a movie. Neuroscience studies have shown us that the brain reacts much more strongly when we visualize as if we're the person in the scene, in their body, looking through their eyes. And number 4 is to feel the wish fulfilled, is to really engage the feeling of already having the thing that you desire with a sense of ownership. And lastly, Neville Goddard's SATs, or state akin to sleep. He says, doing your visualization as you are drifting off to sleep is the best time to impress these ideas and programs into your subconscious mind. Because when we are falling asleep, we are at our most suggestible state, and our conscious mind's resistance is at its lowest. It gives us a direct route to the subconscious mind for our programming. Now, let's look at some of the mistakes that people make. And the first mistake I see is they do the visualization out of a place of desperation. And unfortunately, that's never gonna work because desperation is the feeling state. So you're just gonna manifest more desperation at worst, or nothing will change at best. And if this is an issue for you, I'll link a video down below that can help you to stop chasing your manifestation, which will then allow it to come to you. You've got to remove your own attachment and needing desire for what you want and stop putting it on a pedestal, because that's always going to keep it out of arm's reach. Now, the second mistake I see people make is they don't trust the process. You know, they start to do this with some cynicism, they don't expect it to work, and this game is all about belief. If you don't believe that it's going to work, then it will not work. Having faith and trust is a crucial element to the visualizing and manifesting process. And the third big mistake people make is not clearing and calming your mind beforehand. This is why falling asleep is the best time for most of us, because our minds are typically clear once we're in that place where we're kind of in and out of sleep. Now, what could this look like? Well, it could look like meditation beforehand, maybe 5-10 minutes. Could look like a relaxing hot shower, some chamomile tea. Doing something that will help quiet and calm your mind so that you're more purely focused on the visualization. You want your mind like clear water, not muddy water. And understand that when you do this correctly, this shift happens immediately. Now, I don't mean that your external reality will change immediately necessarily. 3D doesn't work like that. Usually things take linear time to progress in this form of reality. But the shift inside of you happens immediately. Your subconscious mind picks up the new programming and starts running off those new instructions right now. And again, don't take my word for it, just think about it. If you're in a low vibrational, heavy, sad place, but then you begin to visualize and imagine a happy scene, your mood rises instantly. Or you imagine your lover, maybe they even call you, and your mood shifts immediately to align with that energy. Now, how long will it take in 3D reality for things to change around you? No one can know that for sure. It's going to be unique to every individual and their own psychology. And Neville Goddard himself says it's none of our business when the manifestation comes in. Our only job is simply to assume the wish fulfilled in our imagination and take inspired action whenever it comes. The more attached we are to outcome, to the process, to how it's going to work, the more we are keeping our manifestation away. Check out this video where I share tips to stop chasing what you want so that you can instead begin attracting what you want. Now, the video says stop chasing love, but you can take the same principles and apply them to anything you want to manifest, not just love. Make it a great day. Much peace and love to you, my friend.